12 at 6:30.
We have breaking news into our newsroom. A 39-year-old Jacksonville man is in jail after trying to meet up with an undercover detective posing as a teenager. The suspect connected with the underage victim via the Snapchat quick ad feature. The teen's parents learned of the communication and reported it to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. Police arrested Anthony Wheeler for online sexual corruption of a child and luring a minor. A closer look at this case is available on our website, ktrv.com. And the Klamath County Sheriff's Office is announcing the arrest of a Lapine woman on 69 counts of animal neglect. The arrest follows an investigation after animal neglect was reported on her 10-acre property. Christina Cairns cooperated throughout the investigation and voluntarily surrendered her dogs to authorities. While most of the dogs were rescued, one was found dead and 4 others remain at large. The Humane Society of Central Oregon provided medical evaluations. More details on this arrest can also be found on our website, ktrv.com. And President Donald Trump announcing 25% tariffs on imported cars and car parts just yesterday, with the tariff to take effect next week. Rocky Walker went out to see how this tariff would impact local mechanics and dealers as well as you.
Car industry has been reeling for years now. I spoke to a couple people in it today. They tell me that they fear that the tariffs announced on imported cars will have a negative effect on the business and you at home. In just a week, the price of bringing a foreign car into the country will be increasing by 25%. And those in the industry fear its ramifications.
Knowing that a lot of our parts come from outside the United States, I'm sure it's going to affect the initial cost, and it's going to increase again.
World Famous Autos sells used cars. They say prices have increased for years now, to a point that increases can't be swallowed by the seller.
We're just going to have to pass it on to the consumer like anything else. I mean, we can't lose money to sell a car.
The same sentiment goes for local mechanics, saying margins are too thin in the industry to keep customers away from facing the price hikes.
Trying to keep my door open, because if I'm selling parts at cost, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to take that hit.
Another worry is for effects on supply, with the supply chain still reeling from the production halts of the pandemic.
It's just going to, the supply chain, it means this stuff's going to take longer to get, be more expensive. So again, if we don't get the part, we can't fix it.
Kubota says the tariffs will harm businesses, calling them senseless, while Fulton says they will drive production into America, albeit with a rocky start.
You look at the boxes and the packaging and it says made in China or made in Mexico or Canada. Well, why don't we make them here? You know, let's keep it in-house.
In Medford, I'm Rocky Walker.
Now let's check back in with Storm Tracker 12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Hoffman, who is here to tell us that there is more wet weather ahead for us. Isn't that right?
That's right. Friday, we're going to be tracking a pretty on and off rain and higher elevation snow showers across the region. Winds will come down. It'll still be breezy for tomorrow, but not as gusty as what we've been seeing today. Winds are still whipping out there, especially along the coast. Sustained winds out of the south at 28 miles per hour in Gold Beach, all thanks to this area of low pressure that has just been meandering off the Pacific Northwest coast. It will cycle on through over about the next 24 to 36 hours, and then we're going to get a break in the action on Saturday for most of the region. We're starting to see things winding down just a little bit of a lull in the action from Medford down through the Shasta Valley. Shower activity pretty persistent in the Mount Shasta area, also towards Curry and Josephine County, but things will likely ramp up again with the wet weather as we go through overnight tonight. Down to 44 in Medford, 37 in Klamath Falls. We'll drop to 36 in Mount Shasta and 44 degrees in Brookings. Tomorrow, we will see more rain, higher elevation snow, most of the snow impacts staying above 4,500 feet. Here's a look at the forecast for Mount Ashland. Winds will be gusty tomorrow, but they're not going to be as strong as today, so we should see Mount Ashland able to open tomorrow, and there'll be some fresh powder to enjoy as well. We picked up quite a bit of snow today at the Mount Shasta Ski Park, 11 inches at the end of the day, and we'll see some more snow overnight into tomorrow, a break on Saturday, but then tracking another storm system set to impact the region on Sunday. I'll have a closer look at that weekend forecast and a look into next week as well as we begin the month of April coming up in just a bit. Haley.
Thank you, Matt. The Social Security Administration is updating their newest legislation to create stronger identification procedures. NewsWatch 12's Brinkley Hill is following those changes for you. Brinkley.
The Social Security Administration is trying to protect you from fraud by creating new identity verification processes. But by requiring online and in-person identification, Social Security was looking to become less accessible. The most recent policy has now been delayed 2 weeks and taking effect April 14th to ensure that employees across the country are trained and able to help you. NewsWatch 12 trying to clear up any confusing changes for you. Take a look at your screens right now. These Social Security programs will continue to be applied for over the phone if you can't access a My Social Security account online. But these programs will have to be applied for in person at an office or online through that My Social Security account. The Social Security Administration currently working on a process to bypass those requirements in dire situations like terminal cases or prisoner pre-release scenarios. In addressing these changes, Lee Dudek, the acting commissioner of Social Security, said, "We've listened to our customers, Congress, advocates, and others, and we're updating our policy to provide better customer service to the country's most vulnerable populations." Dudek explained some of why the application process for programs will remain over the phone, saying multiple opportunities exist during the decision process to verify a person's identity. Now, NewsWatch 12 will continue to update you on any further changes as policies like this are set to take place in a little over 2 weeks. Reporting in studio, I'm Brinkley Hill.
And the Oregon unemployment rate rose to 4.5% in February. That's up about 0.1% from January. The overall U.S. unemployment rate was at 4.1% in February. According to the state of Oregon, the jobs with the most growth have been in service, manufacturing, and government jobs. But jobs in construction, private educational services, and financial activities saw the biggest fall. And Access is announcing that applications are now open for Royal Oaks Mobile Manor nearly 5 years after the Almeda fire. NewsWatch 12 has previously reported on the mobile units that arrived from their Idaho manufacturer damaged and the lawsuit that followed. Now Royal Oaks is welcoming residents back. Former Royal Oaks residents have top priority, but those who lost their homes in the 2020 wildfires may also qualify. A local story, George Foreman, wildly recognized as a boxing champion from Texas, says his time in the Rogue Valley was a turning point in his life. Today, Samantha Gadera is diving into Foreman's experiences in Southern Oregon and spoke with one of his longtime friends from the Rogue Valley.
Being a part of George becoming the oldest man to become heavyweight champion, to be a part of that just was incredible. That was a highlight of my life.
In 1965, Foreman spent 6 months at the Fort Vanoy Job Corps Center near Grants Pass, and he later described in the Oregon Encyclopedia as, quote, "the beginning of me," end quote. Take me through, the first day that you were able to meet George Foreman and what it was like just kind of being able to train with him.
It was in Anchorage, Alaska. It's when I originally had first talked to him and met him, but I never thought, 5, 6 years down the road that I'd be a part of his training camp.
In 1992, Steve Cortez joined Foreman's training camp, and Cortez told me the two quickly formed a strong bond, with Cortez playing a key role in Foreman's training up until he regained the heavyweight title at 45. When you say you were part of that training camp, so you and him trained together?
Yeah.
And so you truly had the opportunity to fight with him?
He was a hard puncher, but he liked that consistency. He loved that I could take it and keep coming to make him work, to help him get in shape for his fights.
Cortez also shared how their connection continued, even after Foreman's retirement, and despite never returning to Grants Pass, Cortez said Foreman's connection to the Rogue Valley remained strong.
And he said he loved the Rogue River. He said he'd like to take adventures to the Rogue River and he'd skip rocks and picnics and stuff, and he enjoyed it.
Working with a legend. What a story. Now, looking ahead, who is your hero? Some will say a fireman or police officer, but what about our city workers? This Saturday, the Southern Oregon Children's Museum is kicking off their first ever Hero Day event. The event will feature Medford Public Works, Rogue Disposal, the Coast Guard, and Medford Fire and Police Departments. These community leaders will share knowledge about their careers and explain how these industries help keep the city functioning.
So this does give people an opportunity to explain their job and be the hero for the day, because this is a great thing that people are doing.
And they will showcase a variety of community vehicles such as fire trucks, vector trucks, and public works equipment, whether it's a water main repair or a trash truck collecting that garbage. Spicer wants to showcase all these jobs. The event will run 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission to the museum is required, but no additional fee will be charged for the activities.